All right, we are back with another episode, and we went to Disney last week. So this episode, we're going to be talking a lot about our trip to Disneyland and how that all fared. It actually happened to coincide with my son's 8th birthday and our spring break that my kids and my wife have. So we try to plan a spring break trip every year. And this year we had planned to go to Disneyland in California and Universal Studios, where it's the 1-year anniversary of Super Nintendo World opening. And my 8-year-old son is a huge fan of Mario. And they have that new Mario theme part of their park. So we went there for a vacation. We were gone from Tuesday to Sunday. So exercise-wise, there was no weight training, no exercises at all. A lot of walking though. I think I probably averaged 15 to 20,000 steps a day. At the parks, we did 2 park days. So we did Disneyland and California Adventure, which is Disneyland's second park. There's only 2 Disney parks there. Both are great. It happened to be their food and wine festival as well, which just basically means they have all their same food and restaurants. So they have all their usual restaurants, but for food and wine festival, they have different booths will be set up along different walkways. They'll have some different food options. They'll have some entrees or some desserts or drink options. I made a lot of specialty coffees, and I love coffee, so I drank almost every different coffee drink they had that I could get my hands on. Food-wise, ate quite a bit. Interestingly, though, I weighed myself before we left for the trip. I weighed 175, and I was just curious to see after the trip, gone Tuesday to Sunday, eating a lot of food, what that would look like, and kind of getting ahead of the game. But when we came back from the trip, I still weighed 175, so I somehow managed to negate any food I ate with the activity level of walking all over the place. But so yeah, we spent 2 days at Disneyland parks. Again, a lot of walking, a lot of eating, a lot of food, a lot of coffee drinks at those parks. Excuse me. We had a lot of fun. The weather, it was cold. Cold for California anyway. It was in the low 60s. Back home here where I am, it was around the same weather actually. So the weather wasn't much different, truth be told, for the first part of our trip. Had a lot of fun there. So then at that point, rented a car and I drove over to we drove to Los Angeles, so Disneyland in Anaheim. So we flew into Los Angeles, got a car service to Anaheim, did our Disney trips, rented a car, drove back to LA, where we just kind of did some sightseeing stuff. Went to St. Monica Pier, which is like the end of Route 66. They got their pier out in the ocean and a beach there. It was too cold to be doing any beach activities that day, so we just kind of walked the pier, checked out some shops. We did eat at In-N-Out Burger. I have never eaten an In-N-Out Burger, and I know some people on the West Coast that always just rant and rave about how awesome In-N-Out Burger is. So we saw one by St. Monica Pier, one a couple miles away, so we drove out there and we stopped there for lunch. It was crazy busy, overwhelmingly busy in that place, but they ran a pretty tight ship. I mean, they had a lot of workers. They were really efficient with getting orders through and getting our food to us, so that was great. The food itself was nothing to write home about, though. I'm sorry to say, West Coast people, if anybody is listening that loves West Coast and is an In-N-Out diehard fan, we weren't overly impressed. Yeah, it was good. It was the fries were really good. The burger was okay. It was kind of one of those I thought, I don't know. I guess if it's one of those nostalgia things that you grew up on this, and this was the first burger you've had and the first kind of fast food, yeah, you get on with it. I mean, McDonald's is... I'm not that crazy about their burgers either, even Wendy's or Burger King. So, I don't know, fast food burgers just don't always do it for me. There was decent, good food, efficient service. We don't get the whole hype about it, but I guess that's maybe an unpopular opinion against people that really are diehard for In-N-Out Burger. But we stopped there. We did that. We went to the Hollywood sign, kind of drove up there, up the hills, and kind of parked and hiked up a little bit and got some pictures up by the Hollywood sign, kind of as close as we felt comfortable hiking to. I'm sure we could have explored that area a little bit more, but we just didn't. And then we went to, it's called City Walk, which is kind of Universal's version of downtown Disney, but they just have different shops and restaurants. And we ate dinner there and just kind of went through the different shops. That's where we went to the Mario store, the Nintendo store, and we dropped some friggin' cash in that place. Seeing as my son's birthday, he's a big Mario fan. We knew this was what the trip was. I mean, this was really the crux of the trip, was going to Mario World or Super Nintendo World at Universal for him. He's been so excited for it, and like he was just in heaven. Like that was his version of heaven right now on Earth, was that store. And we spent a lot of time in there and walked away with some souvenirs. I bought a mug, which I've kind of become a collector of mugs of places I go. I always like to find a good mug. And I guess I could show. I'll be showing pictures of all this stuff on the YouTube. So if you're listening on Spotify, I appreciate you. Thank you for that. But head on over to the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@TomThePTGamerGuy. Kind of long and confusing, but that should get you there. I'll try to put that in the description as well. Yeah, I'll be sharing some pictures there of the trip and everything we kind of experienced. That way you can kind of see what I'm talking about as we go through this. But at Universal, yeah, we went to, that was a rough day weather-wise. It was like 49 degrees when we got up. It was rainy, it was windy, it was cold. But we were prepared because we'd looked at the forecast. We knew it was going to be cold. So we, dressed accordingly and ponchoed up, and we ventured out because by God, that's what we were there for. We were there to do that for my son's birthday and part of our spring break trip. So we did it. And actually, it was a lot of fun. It's kind of small. I mean, when you walk into that place, it's kind of overwhelming. You just see so much stuff, and you feel like there's so many things to do, and you're kind of like, oh my gosh, this is kind of overwhelming. But then as you start going through and you start doing it, you're like, oh well, there's actually I feel like maybe I'm missing something, but no, it's not. There's not a whole lot to do, but at the same time, it feels like there's a lot to do. It's kind of one of those you have to experience it. But we got there and we got on the Mario Kart ride. We did that right away. Had like little to no wait because we were there right at the beginning. We bought the early pass entry because we wanted to make sure we got in for this trip. Like we don't want to get to Universal Studios, get there, and then it's spring break and the weather was nice and we just couldn't get into the queue to get into Mario World because it was just too busy. So we bought the early access pass. It was more money, obviously, but it guaranteed us to get into there, which that's what we were there for. So we wanted to guarantee that we got in. So we got in like early, right away. I mean, we were bright and early. And we got on the Mario Kart ride right away. Fun ride, kind of like a virtual reality. It's slow paced. I kind of think it might be a fast paced ride, but when you get on, it's like, oh, it's a slow paced, kind of interactive. You have the steering wheel that you can kind of steer and shoot items and stuff. It's fun. We turn around and the queue, though, the line for that ride, it takes you through Bowser's Castle. It's so detailed. And we actually turned around, and the wait time at that point was maybe upwards of 45 minutes when we got off the ride. We just turned around and just hopped right back in line because we wanted to experience the line, actually. That's one of those lines that we started kind of taking pictures and looking at stuff and just seeing how they did everything. And at one point, it's like, oh, we got to keep the line moving. We're the people holding up the line because we're like, oh, this is so cool. Look at this. Oh, take a picture here. Take a picture here. So yeah, it's a really cool line to go through. It's only one ride they have there, though. They have these bands that you buy, and you can play these little mini games throughout the park. There's like maybe 4 or 5 mini games. You wait more in line for those than anything else, it seems like. We did manage to get all those done. It's kind of fun because as you do those, you get keys, you get points. At one point, I was like number 3 on the leaderboard because they have like a little spot that has a leaderboard for everybody that's playing the games for the day. You can see who's got the top score. I have no idea how they scored that system because like we did everything the same. We went through, did the rides the same, did all the things the same, but somehow I had more points. I'm like, I don't know how I have more points, but yay for me. But once you get so many keys, I think it's 3, then you can turn around and you can fight Bowser Jr. So you go into a special part of the park, you scan your band, it verifies that you have enough keys to fight him, and then they have this whole special mini game where you battle him, which it's fun. It's really cool stuff. If you're into Mario, or you're like me, you grew up in the 80s, or even now if you're just a Mario fan and you like theme park stuff, you do owe it to yourself to make a trip out there because it's really cool to see that stuff kind of come to life. We managed to get reservations for Toadstool's Cafe, which is there. It's their one restaurant in the Super Nintendo or Mario World part of the park. Very hard to get reservations in that. It filled up really fast. we scanned to get into the queue, and we were kind of refreshing it, and we managed to actually, my wife managed to get, she was the one that managed to get us into it. But yeah, real quickly, like early in the day, you look at the sign, it says all time slots filled for the day. Sorry. And you're like, wow, that is really hard to get into this cafe. But it's the one restaurant there. So yeah, it's going to be really, competitive to get into this thing. So we ate lunch there. I had it's called Bowser's Challenge, which is essentially, it just was a giant meatball. It almost looked like just a giant meatloaf ball with this Bowser shaped biscuit thing. I'll put a picture up on YouTube of it because my wife took a picture of it. Couldn't you see it? Like, holy cow. And then it had hot sauce. Basically, it was just buffalo sauce. And it's supposed to be like Bowser's Spicy Hot Challenge. And I was like, of course, me liking spicy foods. I'm like, yeah, let's go. And as I ate, I'm like, oh, this is just buffalo sauce. Okay, that's not bad at all. I was thinking it was going to be like some super hot, burn my mouth kind of sauce. But no, this was just buffalo sauce. It was tasty. It was good. Of course, they had this Bowser's bowl that it served in that you can purchase separately as a souvenir. I went ahead and did it because I thought, maybe cool, just kind of a keepsake. Yeah, look at what I did. I took on Bowser's Challenge, and so it was $10. I got the bowl after getting it and taking it home. I was like, I could have done without the bowl, but I have it now, so there it is. But the food there was really good. The rest of Universal Day we spent like going to Harry Potter World. Had some butterbeer, which is really good. And on a cold day, you go into the restaurant there in Harry Potter World part of the park, and you get a hot butterbean. Oh, man. That became kind of the running joke is to let's stop by and get a hot beverage. The hot beverage was a hot butterbeer, and they were good. It really kind of hit the spot. I had a cold one, too, just because, we got there, and there was no line, so I went and got a cold butterbeer. And after drinking that, I asked the guy, I said, can you get a hot one of these somewhere? And he goes, yeah, you go in the restaurant, you can order a hot one. So we did that, and rode the rides there. We did have express passes as part of our early entry, so we got to just bypass the lines. And at Universal in California, I guess this is just kind of trip tips by PT Gamer Guy, whatever that is. The express pass is good for certain things. It costs a lot of money, so not a lot of people do it, and I can see why. I mean, there's certain rides that you just don't need it for. It's just the wait times. The wait times are pretty low there. I never saw a wait time. I think the Mario Kart ride, actually, you cannot use it for that one. There is no express line for that ride. The highest I think that wait got to is 60 minutes. All the other rides throughout the rest of the park were like 15 to 45 minutes tops, which isn't bad. So the express pass, I mean, it's costly. You don't really need it. We just got it as part of our package with the early access, so we went ahead and used it and we pretty much walked on every ride. So we had every ride done pretty early, and we managed to ride all the rides. And they have they had a couple different Mario snack shops kind of set up where you can get popcorn. We of course bought the souvenir bucket and the souvenir sipper, and you get free refills with your popcorn that day that you buy the popcorn bucket, which is we bought a Mario Kart. It's basically a Mario Kart where you can put popcorn in the back. But what they do is they just give you a bag of popcorn with it. You can put the bag of popcorn in the popcorn holder if you want. We just put the popcorn holder in a bag, show them the receipt, show them the receipt, and show them the popcorn bucket, and then they just give you a bag of popcorn for free. So we had a lot of popcorn. So there wasn't so Disney was all coffee drinks. This was all like popcorn and snacky drinks, or popcorn and snacks. Not snacky drinks, popcorn and snacks. But they were good. I mean, Universal's got a pretty good theme park there too. So yeah, once we got done with all those rides, we ventured back to our hotel. We actually had our flight the next day to come back home was at like 5:30 in the morning. So we had to leave our hotel by like 2:30 in the morning. It might have been early. I can't remember what time. I think we got up at like 2. No, we left by 2:30 in the morning. So at Universal, once we got done with all the rides and everything, we got back to the hotel, packed up, and just went to bed really early. I mean, like 7 o'clock or so, maybe 8 o'clock, just so we can make sure we got some level of sleep before getting up and then driving to the airport and doing all that check-in process, which, man, you get to the airport at 3 in the morning and you think, gosh, it's 3 in the morning. This place can't be busy. You walk in the airport and you see the line for like people checking luggage and stuff. And you're like, holy cow. Luckily, we didn't check any baggage because that check-in or that baggage check line was insanely long. So luckily we didn't have to do that, but we made it home just fine without incident. So we got home, and then you just kind of crash because then you feel like you need the vacation from your vacation kind of a thing. Yeah, this wasn't one of those vacations that you're just going to rest. It's kind of a go, 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 go. And then you come home and you're exhausted, and then you got to turn around and go to work the next day. But yeah, I was surprised to find that I did not, in that whole process, I did not gain any weight. Of course, we came home Easter Sunday. When we got home, there was, of course, it's Easter Sunday, so we were trying to find a place to eat, and there was nothing open. So, of course, we stopped at the good old McD's because there was nothing else open. But McDonald's was open, so yeah, we ordered some food there, and I got a chicken sandwich there. They don't do grilled chicken sandwiches anymore, which kind of stinks. So I just got a crispy chicken sandwich, and my wife and I always split some fries. So there's no really win on calories at McDonald's, but it cuts it down still as much as you can. Of course, I didn't eat a whole lot that day because we'd eaten so much prior to, but yeah, surprised to find no weight gain this week. So kind of coming back home from the vacation now, I've been back to the gym a few days. And man, when you take a week off of the gym and you're just eating kind of junk food, no workouts, nothing like that. Yeah, you're walking and you're burning calories with your activity that you're doing, but you're not actually doing any physical weight training for a whole week off. And then you step back into the gym, and I just tried, I said, I'm just going to take my program and just pick up right where I left off. No cutting back or anything. And I managed to do a couple, the few days I've been back, I've managed to do everything I did before, but it's such more challenging. I remember the last time when I worked out before leaving for vacation, I felt really good doing this program. Now I'm doing the same kind of weights, reps, sets, all that stuff when I come back, and it's such more of a challenge. It's like, oh my gosh, I was able to do this and felt good with it. And now it's like, this is rough. 1 week off makes a big difference. So yeah, back into the routine this week. So that's our Disney trip. So again, if you're listening on Spotify, head on over to youtube.com/@TomThePTGamerGuy. I'll be sharing a lot of pictures on there. We had a fun trip, a great time. Like I said, if you're a Nintendo fan, Mario fan, you owe it to yourself to make a trip to Universal Studios in California and Los Angeles and have a good time, because it is a lot of fun. It's expensive, but if you save up for it, it's worth the trip. Other than that, we'll be back next week with another follow-up and see how things are going from there. In the meantime, hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.